What's going on today, Internet? Selfish here with Retrospect. Today we're going to take a look at setting up your RGB10X. And the reason being is these handhelds, though they work very well out of the box, you can make them actually work a lot better by doing things like adding Wi-Fi simply, or actually updating the operating system so that you get all the features that are available with ArkOS. And I'm going to show you how to do that here today. Let's take a look. One of the first things I'm going to recommend doing is replacing your memory card with a name brand card. Not the best name brand out there, but the PNY cards actually work pretty good for this use case as far as reliability and not dropping your files, like your saves and things like that. The cards that come in these things, though, are usually crap. These are actually branded in these now, finally. I just don't know how good the cards actually are, and it's going to take some time before we know for sure. This is going to be the same across the board, whether you're doing the RGB10X or if you're going to be doing one of the V10 devices. The upgrade process is the same, and they all kind of could use the same kind of TLC. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this card right here, and we're going to throw it on our computer real quick. Alright, so now the first thing that we're going to have to do is we're actually going to have to create a file in the tools folder if we just want internet. We don't want any of the other stuff that ArkOS has to offer, seeing it has ArkOS on it. So if you can see here, I am actually creating this folder, and I'm going to save it directly into the tools folder. And the name of that file is going to be wikikeyfile.txt. And then in there, we are actually going to put in our network name and our password for the network. Now, after you run this one time, it actually deletes it off the card, so it's only on there for the initial boot. So when you start up your device, you'll get a warning on your device telling you that it is actually installing this network information onto your handheld. But after that, you'll never see it again, and if you go back in, the file doesn't exist anymore. So it's just an initial boot file. Really easy way if you just want to get internet on your device. We'll check here into the tools folder, make sure everything's in there. And there it is. We can eject the SD card after that, and then just put it right into our handheld. And when it boots up, it'll tell us that it's going to be installing that. And you can click on either of the files to eject, either the boot or the EasyRun file. Alright, so now that we have this card and we put the stuff on just to be able to get on the interwebs, we're going to put this card in here. We're also going to need a dongle for getting on the interwebs. Well, I can't get that in there. Well, what is happening? Just cut my fingernails. All right. And then I have got this Wi-Fi card here we are going to use with this OTG adapter. Now, the first time we turn this on, we should get a message telling us that it's installing it. It's going to black it out probably a little bit, but we will check it out here. It should tell us it's going to be like a one-time use thing. Watch, it won't do it now because I've already done this before. So it's probably already in there. Nope, there we go. So it's enabling my Wi-Fi now. So if you didn't want to do a full software update, this would be the way to do it. That was the first set of directions I gave you here. After this, we will get into doing the full update for the system as far as updating to a more current version of the software. Now, this works both on the RGB10X as well as the V10. Both have very similar setups. The V10, though, you have to scroll down like 3 or 4 on the software page, but then you will be able to do it that way. So now we have interwebs. So as you see, there's no individual RetroArch menu here, and that's because we are running, and the other thing we're missing is the options menu, because we are running this version of the software. But say we just go into any application here. Yeah, select X. Okay, so now we're in RetroArch. Should be able to go to achievements. It says I'm not logged in, so we'll go back over here to settings. I suppose this is new software. Okay, and then we will go achievements. All right, there we go. So there I am. Yeah, so this one just doesn't have any display, but it's logged into achievements. So when you have achievements available, though, it will show them. So now that we got this all set up for you, so if you're not going to do the whole OS build, you could probably stop here if you just want to get Wi-Fi. If you want to see what the rest of the OS build has to offer, it is going to offer a little bit more unique experience as far as customizations and things like that. But now you at least have access to be able to get to a lot of things. You are going to be missing your options menu, your retro achievements menu, stuff like that when you do it within this without doing the update. It's just not there. I don't believe options is available as an emulator on here. Now I'm going to double check just because I'm curious. You're also not seeing Dreamcast on here and stuff like that. So we will now go and do the update for the operating system itself. That'll also give you access, obviously, to Wi-Fi. I'll go through Portmaster, putting some ROMs on, as well as setting up Pico 8 if you are a Pico 8 subscriber. I do recommend it. It's only $15 and it's thousands of games for life. I don't get anything for selling it to you, but I'd recommend getting Pico 8, and I will throw a link down in my thingamabob on how to get it. But the games on it are fantastic, and they're fan-made games, essentially. But let's get into that. Let's get the operating system updated on here. That way I can show you a few more things on it. Now we're going to go through how to do this and actually install all of ArkOS on your handheld. You won't even need to do the part that we just did before. I'll put a link to this down on my thingamabob. I'm just going to my webpage here because I actually have a link on my webpage for this already underneath the firmware tab. I just have all the different firmwares that are available, but I'll put a link directly to the firmware for you. But if you ever need it, if you ever need a firmware for anything, I definitely have one on there for you. So we're here on the ArkOS wiki here. We're going to scroll down. We're going to be able to see which actual firmware that we need and which device it matches up with. It is a 351MP that we use, and if you look on there, they added the RGB10X to that. Now, the G Cloud, in my experience, doesn't work on this one, so it's hit its download limit. So here you're going to go and just use Mega Downloader, which takes forever. I mean, it's a snail's pace. So we'll get that downloaded. We'll skip ahead here a little bit to, you know, what we'll do once it's all onto our computer and everything and downloaded. Okay, so now you're just going to go to your downloads folder or wherever it is you downloaded it to. As you can see, mine's in my downloads folder. You're going to go and click on it, go right click and go to show more. I use 7-zip to extract it. And I just extract it to this folder. As you can see, it's sitting here with a whole bunch of my other projects right now. So that's really fun. Now while it's finishing unzipping, I'm going to go into GUI formatter, and this is going to actually allow me to put it into FAT32. So open that up. I'll have links to all these different tools I use down on my thingamabob for you. Just thought of that. We will put that drive into FAT32, whichever memory card. This will be supposedly the new card I just put in. It's actually the card I already have in there, so I'm not going to hit start, but you'll just hit start. It'll run for a couple minutes. It'll be done. It'll tell you to hit close. Then we're going to take and double check to make sure that's done. So once that's all done, we go over here, and then we are going to use Rufus. And in Rufus, we'll select that card. Now you can see mine's partitioned because I'm using the card I already did. We're going to hit select, and we are going to go into that downloads folder or wherever you saved it and select that file that's unzipped. Now all that is done, you're going to hit start, and it will run for a while. And when it's done, they'll tell you to hit close, and you will have it. Initially, likely you won't have the ROMs folder, you'll just have the boot folder. So at this point, I would take it out, put it into my device, let it install, open up, and then put it back into my computer, and you'll have access to your ROMs. Once you have access to those ROMs, you're going to want to go in and start adding your ROMs back. Now, if I have a ROMs folder on my desktop, if you don't, before you do any formatting of any sort, make sure you save your ROMs to your desktop. That way, you're not without ROMs, because if you decide to format the card that came with it, which I highly recommend you do not do that, but if you do, you will lose all your ROMs. Now, in a perfect world, you have a new card, and all you're going to have to do is put both cards in at the same time, and you can just drop and drag those files from one to the other. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now once you get some game files on there, you can eject your card and then go put that card into your device, make sure those are working. Then if you want to use Pico 8, I'll go through how to set up Pico 8 for you. And that is going to give you access to the virtual player. And Pico 8 is fantastic. I'm sure you've heard me talk about it, if not myself, somebody else at some point in time. But we'll go through Pico 8 and just how to install it if you have a paid-for copy of Pico 8. And if you don't, I'd recommend getting one. Thousands of games, $15 for life. Worth every penny. Alright, so we're going to do some Pico 8 here. So find your Pico 8 folder. You're going to see kind of how it's all laid out and everything here. Then we're going to go and we are going to actually create a couple of things on top of adding our Pico 8 files to this. So recommend subscribing to Pico 8. And once you do, you'll get this cool thing where you can use it on pretty much any system. So I've got them all saved here on my computer. But we're going to want to use the Raspberry Pi version. You're going to select all of the files to put in your Pico 8 folder minus this one file right here. It's a DYN file. And that's the 32-bit version. So on this screen, because it's 64-bit, it will throw the whole thing off. So you just got to unselect that file. Put the rest of them in there. That'll show the Pico 8 system that you actually subscribe. And that'll give you access to the library from your handheld. So once you have all that in there, what we're going to need to do is we are actually going to need to create a folder, or not a folder, but we're going to need to create a link or what they call a blank cart. And we're going to put that cart right into our Pico crates, or Pico crate folder. So you just need to locate that folder, and I just do a save as into that folder from the notepad. You are going to want to go by all files, otherwise it's going to end up being a TXT file, and this is going to be a .p8, and it's going to be zzzsplore.p8 is what you want. It looks, there's a period on here for some reason when I did it, and I don't know, I was struggling with my typing for some reason when I was making this. I was actually kind of sideways on the keyboard. But you don't want the period after the ZZZ. You just want ZZZ Explore. And actually, it could be named anything, really. All the thing is really supposed to do is create a blank cart. But this is the generic because this puts it as the last cart on your list. So you can literally just scroll up one, and you'll be at the bottom of your list, and you'll be right in the Explore folder. And then I'll give you access to Access Pico 8 from your handheld. And I'll show you kind of what that looks like here in just a second. So once that's in there, you just do the save as, and I just go back and double check to make sure it's there. Also in here, I don't think I put it in the cart folder. I don't know, I was all jacked up. I was doing 3 different devices at once, but it's supposed to be in your cart folder, and I'll put the link up here on the screen, or the path up here on the screen for you. So you're just going to eject it real quick, and then we will take a look at Pico 8 and what it looks like kind of when you sign into Pico 8, and then you can see that Explore folder and everything that you added. And then you have unlimited access to the stuff from online, which is pretty fantastic. Now that we got our operating system installed, we should have some more options on here. I don't believe the theme I'm using supports everything we just put on here as far as ROMs and stuff go, but that's okay. They'll still be here. You just won't get all the cool artwork, and I can go back and add that later on my own, so that's not a big deal. For today's purposes, I don't think that's going to be that important. So here's that stock card that came with it. Then we're going to load her up. Maybe. There we go. And it should, everything should install. It should already pretty much be installed because we had to do that in order to get the ROMs folders on there. Now, I'm going to be showing you on card 1, but I'll show you how to access your games on card 2 as well. So now, obviously different theme, but now you're seeing more stuff already. So you have a RetroArch menu. You have an options menu, which is this next one here. Now here's your ports menu, Pico 8, and then some systems that we just added that, like supervision, that wasn't on here before. So if we wanted to go to options, now this is how you'd activate your Wi-Fi. You go down to the bottom, you choose Wi-Fi, and this is in the options menu, and then you connect to a new Wi-Fi connection. It's going to look for all the available points, no big deal, and it's going to pop up a list for you. Once you add a bunch of different Wi-Fis to you, you'll have an active Wi-Fi list. That way you can easily just switch between them. In older versions of software, you actually had to go through each one and log back in to a new one every single time you got on here, so you don't have to do that once you do that update. If you are doing something like SyncThing and you know your IP address, you can actually get that off this current network info button. It'll tell you all the information you need for something like Pico 8. So we're going to exit out of here. So this is one of the additions you get when you add this, is this options area. And this will give you things like, under advanced, you'll get restoring. So if you screw something up in PSP, if you screw something up in RetroArch, if you screw something up on your DS settings, you can actually go in here and just revert it back to stock. It kind of sucks because if you have a lot of stuff set, but if you have one setting that you made a mistake and you can't get back to it, at least now you have an option in order to not have to actually just restore the entire device. I would recommend just making a backup. Once you have everything working the way you want it to, then you can just restore from that backup if you need to do that. Now, if you want to, you can do Port Master through here as well as Theme Master. So if you want to get new themes, you can go on and download themes now that you have internet and the Theme Master availability. Again, you wouldn't get this if you just went Wi-Fi only, but I honestly typically go Wi-Fi only because I have everything kind of set up where I do this all kind of on the back end through Linux. That's a different tutorial. Port Master can have full access to Port Master on there as well, and you'll be able to go through and look at games and things. If you've never used Port Master, I was starting to create a Port Master video. I think I'll have one coming out hopefully pretty soon. The other thing you're going to need to know in here, your update. So there is an update available. As soon as you do the software, there's already an update available. And the reason being is all they're doing is opening up this OS to additional devices, but this OS hasn't been updated since July 31st, I believe. And we're on ArkOS 2.0. Go in here, do an update. It'll do a more specific update for your device. I believe I already did it, but we'll double check it. So I've already done it on here, but it will have an update available for you. If we go back to this advanced menu, I forgot. If you go all the way to the bottom, you have switched to SD2 for ROMs. So that would be if you have all your ROMs on the SD2 card. And the way you get it to create those folders, just put a blank card in here, boot it up. You'll create those folders, turn it off, take the card out, put it in your computer. It'll have all the same ROM folders in it. But then it'll only take your game files from the second SD card versus the first one. Probably should have set it up that way. I don't know why I didn't. And now again, you do have access to everything right here on your main screen. You'll also get some options that'll actually work now, like Scraper will work. And you can set it up however you want. This is how I always set mine up, 2D images from 3D boxes. And you can go in here and individualize. So see, now I've got 41 systems selected. So it added 2 game systems that we just added games to because they weren't on here, I guess. The ones I was throwing on here before when we were doing the setup stuff. So but that's one of many things that you'll get by doing that update. I will probably do an update too on how to add SyncThing. There's a couple different ways you can do it. With ArkOS, I like to do it kind of where you're not signed into the ES front end, and we'll actually do it through the Linux side, probably. It's pretty simple. It sounds a lot harder than it is, but you just need to have access to a keyboard in order to do it. The on-screen keyboard doesn't work for for crap when you're trying to do stuff like that. So we'll do that. We'll tackle that on another video. This is just more of a get you kind of in the door so that you can use your device kind of the way it's made to be used, right? So now you have a lot more accessibility by doing this. But either way, you're going to want Wi-Fi on here. I know some people go their entire time having retro handhelds without Wi-Fi, and that's great. Retro Achievements is the biggest reason why you'd want Wi-Fi, but scraping game art, yeah, you can do it on your computer, and that's fine. But it's so much easier if you just put this on the charger, hit scrape, set it down, walk away for a couple hours, and just let it do its thing. And then you come back, all your art's done. You don't have to fuddle with it or anything like that. It'll all be on here for you. I personally see that as a big advantage. But we're going to do another video on those two coming up. Again, this works on both the RGB10X as well as the V10. Exactly the same process. I know they're slightly different handhelds, but the process is exactly the same. I believe you have to scroll down 4 from where this one you got your software from. On the ArkOS site, I believe it's 4 down to this one, but it's right below it. It's an individual one. This one is listed as a 1.0 version of it. It is a little bit different once you get into it, but almost exactly the same. So we're going to open up Pico 8 here, and oh man, a whole bunch of handhelds just fell over. Hold on. All right, as you can see here, I'm highlighting Pico 8. We're going to open this up. So I just have a couple of games on here. I'm pretty sure these are the games that actually came on it. Celeste pretty much comes on all of them now because it's such a popular game, but it did actually start on Pico 8. So if you're a Celeste fan, you can play the OG Celeste on Pico 8. So just to give you just the tip of the iceberg of how great some of these games are that are on here. But here's that Explore folder that I made. So again, no period, just ZZZ Explore. You're going to go in here, and this will give you access to the entire Pico 8 library now. Now this isn't running fake 8. This is actually we're running native Pico 8. So we have access to everything in Pico 8. So we can go through, and these are the games on my handheld. Cool. Do we want to go and do a search? Do we want to update? We could look at any of these categories here, and we have thousands of games available in any category. Work in progress. You want to see what people are working on right now? Here's some Pico 8 games for you. You want to see what's featured? Cool. Hit update. It'll give you all the featured games. Extra. Now, say you want this game. Cool. Like you want to play it or whatever. New version of this cartridge is available. Well, yeah, obviously we want to update it. And the games I have on my desktop, I usually download them. I've downloaded over 1,000, I bet, just because I just get curious sometimes. And you should be able to do select start to get out of Explore. Sorry, I was a brain fart there. So I didn't add it to this, but if you want to add it to this, you are going to just want to go on the Pico 8 website. And these are awesome because they're PNG files. So the P8 is actually a PNG. These files are so tiny. You can fit thousands on just megabytes. It's fantastic. So just to give you a heads up, I mean, they just think they're images. So, you know, whatever an image is going to be. I mean, you can get them kind of big, I guess. But for the most part, they're pretty tiny. So, and if you are a Celeste fan, again, like I said, Celeste started on Pico 8. So, really cool. This isn't necessarily a handset I would say is made for Pico 8 because it's not a square screen like the RBG30. That screen, or that specific device, I think saved Pico 8. The Virtual Console, I mean, people used it, but not to the extent they do now. That was kind of the big selling point for that. But this does scale it for you, so you're still going to get scaled. Oh my goodness, I haven't played this in so long. Oh my goodness, I don't remember how to play. All right, anyways, carry on. So yeah, you'll have access to all this kind of stuff anyways on Pico 8. So there might be a couple games on there already. That's just because they added them to try to get you interested into it. But at the end of the day, Fake 8 works on here too. But Fake 8 doesn't give you the ability to go in and find it and download your own games. So I would definitely just go through and set up the way I did and use that Raspberry Pi version. That's what works on these handhelds. So, all right, I'm going to dab in here with just a little bit because I think I might have just actually figured out what the audio encoding issue is on my channel. So I'm going to re-record this last little bit here for you. This is as far as I'm going to go here for today. This is an introductory for anybody who's new to this hobby or anybody that just needed a refresher or just didn't know where to find the file. Whatever, it'll be down my thingamabob. Not a big deal. If you have questions, please feel free to leave comments and I will get back to you. Please also leave comments on what you'd like to see in more of an intermediate and a more experienced level video. I will be coming out with those here in the near future. I'm going to kind of do a step-through program where, you know, this is as absolute beginner as it possibly gets, you know, and then we're going to move on from there. And I think that'll just help people through this process. But leave those comments down there. Let me know what you think. If I missed something here today, also let me know because I can include that in a different video or something else you wanted in this. I am working on something with SyncThing too. There's a couple different ways you can do it. I'm just trying to figure out the easiest way to make it for you guys. And I'm pretty sure I fixed this encoding issue, so let's hope that we did. But on top of that, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe. Subscribing definitely helps, with the channel. And then share this video with your friends, because sharing is really where we get a lot of our growth from here. And there's obviously somebody out there that's probably new to this hobby that could probably benefit from this video, or maybe not. I'm not sure what it's going to turn out like when I'm done editing it, because it's been just like little bits and pieces trying to film this thing. I just with all the download time and stuff, it's really kind of thrown me off my game. I can't just sit down and film. But while you're sitting there and you're bored, obviously, because you're watching this video still, there are a couple of videos up on the screen here that YouTube chose for you, saying you're going to like them based off of your viewing history. So why don't you take a look at one of those videos, and once you get done the end with one, once you get to the end of done, once you get to the end of one of those, YouTube's going to suggest some more, and just go down that rabbit hole for me. That'd be fantastic. I'm sure I could teach you something. I'm not sure what. I'm an old dog. I don't know very many new tricks, but you never know. But that's all I got for today. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.